Hello, record and gear nerds of the internet. I am back with a review of the AT33sa Phono cartridge. Let's talk about it.
Six in the morning.
Okay, so I haven't done some videos in a while because I've been sick. I'm still a little bit sick, so pardon my voice. It might be a more annoying experience than it has normally been for you people. I apologize. But I've been wanting to make this video. So, the AT33sa. This is a $700 cartridge, $769 cartridge. It is moving coil, obviously. Maybe not obviously, because Ortofon sells the 2M black, and that's about the same price, and that's moving magnet. But this is moving coil. It has a Shibata stylus, which I'll put a picture up over here so you can see it, because it's kind of an interesting shape. I really wonder how they actually make these diamonds that shape. I'm kind of fascinated by that. I don't know how they do it. And then it has a boron cantilever. Supposedly it is stronger and more rigid than an aluminum one, which is sort of the typical, like that's what you'll find on this. This is the Denon DL103. This guy has a similar aluminum cantilever. So the first thing I noticed in pulling this out is the cantilever is so tiny, I didn't even see it. It is super small. And I'm actually going to try to show you that here. One second, let me try. So this is the Denon DL103. The cantilever is aluminum, and you can see that. Now let me show you the other one. Look how small that is compared to the other one. All that dust. So that is the boron, and look how tiny that stylus is. It is extremely difficult to see. It's also extremely difficult to keep focus with this macro lens. I'll go back to the other one. All right, you can clearly see the difference in size is ridiculous. That was the first thing I noticed, how different the size was. It was crazy small. Like I almost thought it wasn't there. I could barely see it with my old eyes. So, as you might intuit based on that, that creates some issues, namely aligning the cartridge. So, other than noticing that, the first thing I did was mount it. And mounting this is a pain in the butt. So you might be able to see that the screws that they give you are very long. This isn't threaded like this thing. This thing is $60, that's threaded. This is 700 and whatever I just said, 700, let's round up to 800. This thing is 800, it's not threaded. I don't know why not, make my life a lot easier. And then so it has these really long screws because the body is huge. And then the included nuts are round. So it's really difficult to get a grasp on them when you're installing it. It's also difficult. Normally what I'll do is I'll tighten the screws up pretty hard, but where I could still, if I put a bit of pressure on the cartridge, I can still move it a little bit when I'm using my alignment jig on my VPI. I couldn't do that with this really. It was a bit more difficult. I kind of had to have this looser than I wanted to, and then try to tighten it. Then normally I could just screw it like this and tighten it, but you kind of have to get a screwdriver in there and hold that really tight. It's not the hex nuts that you are familiar with. It's rounded off. So I don't know why they went with those either. And you can see that, you know, they're longer than they need to be. So that's annoying. And you could flip them over, but then this part is going to be sticking out the bottom and you're going to be scratching your records. So this is the only way it can go. So that was annoying. That was the first annoying thing. And then the second annoying thing I had issue with was the size of this body in terms of aligning it. As we already demonstrated, that stylus is tiny and the cantilever is tiny and this body is huge. And you can see that there's quite a bit of distance between the tip of the cantilever and the front of the housing. So when you put this on to the alignment jig, you can barely see that at all. It's really difficult to get that set onto the little dot that you're trying to align it to. Is it impossible? No. But is it easy? No, not at all. It's super difficult. So then I got this thing set up, and this thing would skip on certain records. It would miss track and it would cause skips. And I was going crazy trying to figure out what it was. And I would go and I would check out the alignment and I would check the weight. I went through and I actually re-leveled my entire turntable. I messed with the anti-skate, and the anti-skate on this is kind of stupid because all you do is you tighten this or you loosen this. I don't know how I love that VPI. It's not really great. And nothing I did made it any better. Well, that's not true. I was able to fix one side of a record with the anti-skate, messing with the anti-skate, and then the other side skipped. So I was at my wit's end, and I was sitting there thinking, and as I was thinking, or as I was trying to figure out what was wrong, I actually had one of my viewers, his channel is called Qorax, Qorax. I'll link it below. Check it out. So he had suggested, and I didn't actually see the comment until later, to check the VTA because these Shibata styli are very sensitive to VTA, which, had I read that the day before, I think is when he actually posted that, my life would have been a lot easier, but no. So thank you. I set the VTA, and now it plays very nicely. No more skips. That's basically what I was doing. It would hit like a loop where it would just continuously skip over and over and over again, sort of like a locked groove. So once I got rid of that, I could actually hear the sound. I had originally set it to the top of the mark of the tracking force, which is 2.2 grams. And it sounded fantastic. I can't even describe how good it sounded. So these Audio-Technica cartridges have a sort of a rich sort of sound to them. And it's different than the Grado house sound. I actually prefer the Audio-Technica house sound more than the Grado one. Well, I feel like the Grado is a little bit muddy and unclear, whereas with the Audio-Technicas, this, or the other one that I don't have down here, that I did a review of, go check that review out. I feel like there's a bit more clarity to this. So this isn't as dark as the other one that I reviewed, which is the OC something. I'll put it here. So this does have a smooth, lush sound, especially compared to the Denon. But holy cow, does this thing sound good. The 3D? The 3D sound of this is significantly better than I've ever heard. The soundstage is better than I've ever heard. Channel separation is good. It's maybe a little bit better than this, but not a lot. It just tracks beautifully. There is not a hint of any inner groove distortion that I hear. Is it perfect? I wouldn't say that it's perfect, but man, it's probably as close as I'm going to come, because I'm not going to, and I say this now, but maybe eventually I will pay more than $800 for a cartridge. But today is not that day, and I don't foresee that day coming, but I might hit the lottery. Who knows? Man, oh man, it's going to be hard to go back to this. I actually am going to put some clips at the end, and I have to reinstall this, which I don't want to have to uninstall this because it's such a pain in the butt. But I'm going to reinstall this, and then I'm going to do a needle drop. I've already done the needle drop on this, and so we could hear the difference. Those things aren't particularly good. Full disclosure, you kind of get a vague idea, even with headphones. But man, the difference in the room is always way more significant than the difference that I hear on the needle drops that I'm doing, even with a pretty decent analog to USB converter here. So is it worth $800? So in terms of $800 that I've spent on audio stuff, I have semi-recently bought a Rel subwoofer for my system, which is about the same price as that, which is insane to think about, right? Because like a subwoofer is big, and you plug it in, and it's got electronics, it's got a big speaker. This is just a little tiny thing that like you could lose in your couch cushion. This thing makes a way bigger sonic difference than that Rel. If I had to pick one, with this or the Rel had to go, I would pick this would stay and the Rel would go. That's how big of a difference this thing makes compared to even this, which is a good sounding cartridge. I'm not going to lie. But this is, you can get these for $230. That's way more expensive. Originally, I was going to try this and the other Audio Technica cartridge and see if I liked either of them, and then return the other one. And then I got burnt by my own stupidity, where Best Buy no longer has a 30-day return policy. It's now 15 days. So I guess I own both of them. So if you're interested in buying the other Audio Technica cartridge, of which I do not remember its name, I'll put it here again, hit me up, because it's for sale. And it's a good sounding cartridge, especially if you have a bright system. It'll be fantastic for you. So yeah, this thing makes a huge difference. I don't know what it's going to be like to go back to this, but man, I don't think it's going to be good, guys. I think I'm going to have to put this one back on. All right. We'll do some needle drops in a second.